The college football experience, Kansas Jayhawks 2023 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Networks, brought to you by Circa Sports. Yes, Circa Sports is back with their new Circa Survivor and Circa Millions contest, $14 million up for grabs. Get all the details at circasports.com. And remember, as always, folks, to let it ride.
Hey, folks, this is Bud Foster. You're listening to SGPN. Let's let it ride.
Yes! 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 Woo! Welcome! Welcome to the college football experience, Kansas Jayhawks 2023 season preview episode. Oh, the music will keep going if I don't turn it off.
And for Kansas, it's just going to keep going all year long.
It is going to keep going, buddy, and I've tried to tell you, but first let's be proper. Let's introduce ourselves. If you're wondering just who the hell you're listening to, my name is Colby Swinging Database Dan, a.k.a. Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I smoke and I drink and I don't have stress and I'm healthy.
And you're nothing but a chameleon, lemon-headed, coward, terrorist pussy. And I'm after you, buddy. You're going to pay for it. Good night.
Here we go, Patty C. You know, Kansas Jayhawks won a national championship in 1891, won one in 1899, Patty C. Also won one in 1908. They might have won one in 05. This was a powerful program. Won one in 23 when they went undefeated as well. You can go on and on and on about the fine history in Lawrence, Kansas, from John Riggins to Gilbert Brown to Gale Sayers to Todd Riesling
To Jake Sharp.
to Dana Stubblefield.
Hello.
We can go on and on and on. And look, they hit dark years, but guess who brought them out of the light? Was a guy named Lance Leipold. I am joined by my co-host. Give it up for former JMU Duke defensive back, the burrito eating, sideline kiss stealing, wheeling and dealing, Patty C in the place to be.
Hi-oh.
Oh, you know I've been waiting for this episode, folks.
Oh, yeah.
I've been waiting for this episode. Patty C, if you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/thecollegeexperience, subscribe, tell a friend. You might see me in glasses. You say, Colby, he looks like a fucking nerd over here. Well, maybe I'm a maniac. But,
You've been nerding out on Kansas for like
I have been. That's why the glasses are on. And
you've been nerding out on Lance Leipold for about 6 years now.
Yeah. And look, 2 years ago, I locked up the over on 1.5 wins, right? Number one lock of the season. They won 2 games. Almost beat Oklahoma that year. But they won 2 games. They beat Texas in Austin, right? Last year, I think the win total was what, 3.5? I said, or it might have been flat 3. And I said, dude, hammer the over. Number one lock of the year. This team is going bowling. I was laughed off.
You were laughed off your own show.
Yes, my own show, the SGP show, many guest appearances that I did on shit. And people were calling me a clown. So I put the glasses on to look like a fucking clown. All right.
To Phil Steele's credit, he didn't laugh you off.
He did not laugh me off.
Yeah, Phil Steele knows.
Yeah, he didn't go all the way in.
He didn't go in like you did.
Yeah,
but he was kind of.
He said maybe, but I said, dude, they're doing it. And I'll be honest, when I look back at that 6 and 7 season, I personally think they would have won 8 or 9 had Jalon Daniels not gotten injured after 6 games. They were 6-0 with him as a starter.
Very true. However, as you see this
Or 5-0 is
handsome
him
gentleman
as
in
a
the
starter. Yeah.
icy white Jayhawks uniform behind us
Jason Bean
stepped in quite well,
but they still only won one game.
but the wins didn't come.
Yeah,
You're right.
Yeah, it was a little bit different. They weren't as dual threat. Yeah. So and they also took some defensive hits, like when Kobe Bryant got injured. All these other guys got injured. But that's going to happen, and the depth, continues to build up. So, Patty C, I'm curious. What do you think of old Lance Leipold?
I'm pretty impressed. I am pretty impressed. It's hard to gauge how good a former Division III coach who dominated at a powerhouse.
Well, he was 34-1 all time in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, pretty amazing. But where did he make his jump from Whitewater straight up to Buffalo?
He did. Yeah.
So going from D3 straight to the FBS, or were they FCS at that point? And then they moved into to the FBS.
I think it was FBS. They were fresh to the FBS.
D3 to FBS. Hell of a jump, and yet it translated really well. So someone must have had the eye out there for him. You had the eye out there for him.
And he coached his coaching tree, by the way, Barry Alvarez and Frank Solich.
Decent.
Yeah.
Might have heard of those guys.
He also played quarterback back at Wisconsin Whitewater back in the day. Patty C, look, I mean, I think Kansas fans should be super happy. He turned down opportunities to leave. There was speculation. Wisconsin was calling to bring him home. Nope. He doubles down, says he wants to end his career in Lawrence, and I'm on board. I am on board, buddy. All right?
Well, I'll tell you this. It may have been a genius move on his behalf, because I think Kansas has the reputation as a school that has, football-wise, less resources and less access to talent than other schools. I don't know if that's true. A lot of coaches have failed, but yeah, he's showing real quickly that is not necessarily the case. And so if he's the only guy that can do it, the statue's coming if he keeps this up.
It is coming. Let's go. Look, we're going to talk about the offense, defense, special teams, transfer portal. We're going to go game by game on the Jayhawks schedule. See if I look like a fucking clown again. By the way, I didn't get any calls on that. Didn't get any callbacks on that. I'm excited. I'm waiting for August is kind of like the time where I go on other people's shows often. So I'm looking forward to going on those shows, because I'm telling you, I know one, and I'm not going to name names right now, but I was literally laughed off the fucking show. I was laughed off the fucking show by saying Kansas would be a bowl team.
Gently bring that up when you go back on.
Yeah, but say, how you guys doing? Let's go. Patty C, we're going to talk it all. But before we do that, I want to tell you that the Kansas Jayhawks 2023 season preview episode is brought to you by Circa Sports. Yes, Circa Millions plus the Circa Survivor is back. $14 million in guaranteed prizes up for grabs. I mean, Circa Millions, just 5 NFL picks ATS against the spread each and every week. Winner takes all, baby. Let's go. Circa Survivor, just pick a different moneyline winner each and every week. You can't pick the same team twice, because that's just how Survivor works. You got to enter in Las Vegas, but you can play from anywhere. All right? Play it from anywhere. Sports Gambling Podcast, the SGPN crew, that is, will be out the last weekend in August, out in Vegas at Circa. So come by, say hello. Circasports.com for all the details. That is circasports.com. What would you do with $14 million, people? Circasports.com for all the details. All right, we are back on the Kansas Jayhawks 2023 season preview. Patty C, I mean, I really think one of the things that, he's got 3 4-stars signed currently, right?
Yeah.
But one of the things he has done great, remember, he took the job in May of year 1, right? Yeah. So he did not get spring ball.
Yeah. And the recruiting classes was completely decimated. This is a team that typically hangs in the high 60s, low 70s recruiting wise. They dropped all the way to 117 in that transition year recruiting wise. So really tough. But since then, doing a great job recruiting.
Well, yeah. And I thought, obviously the first year was tough because he really didn't have a lot of his guys. The second year, you saw him get a bunch of his Buffalo players to come over too.
Yeah.
and he's building that depth. You look at last year.
I
in the
mean, that's
portal.
definitely part of it. This year one, he hit the portal hard with his
own guys.
Yeah.
So, but it was like Buffalo's in the Big 12 all of a sudden, right? And guess what? They beat Texas at Texas. So I understand why Texas doesn't put Buffalo on the schedule. Patty C, but look, I mean, you saw last year he was adding guys to build the depth on that roster. And there were some decent guys that came in that played pretty well. Jason Bean, I think, was one of them that came over from North Texas. But you look, and I think this is another year for him to load up and to continue to build that depth.
For a guy who looks like a military guy, you wouldn't think him being a portal master. Usually it's the used car salesman types that run the portal, but he's just doing a great job.
Yeah. They lost. They did lose some guys. I feel like, people that weren't starting looked elsewhere. We'll get into it. Departing is running back DeAndre Thomas, gone. He's going the JUCO route, I believe. Kicker Jacob Borsilla went to Vanderbilt. So I'm out of here. I'm going to Nashville. Let's sing my heart out. Defensive end, Tamarian Alexander to the Louisville Cardinals. Keelan Robinson, wideout, decided to go to East Carolina. Totally understand that move. Quarterback, this is the one that I think they were surprised. This is why Jason Bean, when he was able to retain Jason Bean, the team was high on Ethan Vasco.
Yeah.
But bringing back Bean, I think Vasco was like, damn it, I'm out.
Yeah.
He bounces to Coastal Carolina, where he's probably going to be the next Big Bird. They also lost offensive lineman Hunter Barlow to Stony Brook. Another tight end, Max Dowling's in the portal. They lost Kai Thomas, running back that was there on the depth chart, to Kent State.
162 rushing yards last year. A little bit of a loss.
Yeah, and linebacker Gavin Potter to Arkansas State. And then you have cornerback Cameron Dabney to Northern Illinois. Wide receiver Stephen McBride to Hawaii. And this is a guy that actually did play some time for him. Linebacker Eric Gilliard. I know he got benched towards the second part of the season. He bounced out to Jim Moore in UConn. And they also lost safety Jarrett Paul, who had gotten benched to Appalachian State. Those guys are gone. They're out of here. Now, let's see if they won this portal, Petty C, because I think if you were to say what was the weakness of the team last year, it's clearly the defense.
Yeah.
And especially the defensive line.
When we get to the rankings nationally, that statement will ring true.
Well, in the defensive line, on the incoming in the transfer portal, they attacked the defensive line. They started here with Dylan Brooks, defensive end from Auburn, coming over to the Jayhawks.
Auburn's been known to crank out some defensive linemen.
Yeah. Then they brought Patrick Joyner in from Utah State. Joyner was a solid player a year ago. Really excited about that get. Linebacker J.B. Brown, no relation to the former Miami Dolphin corner out of Maryland. But J.B. Brown comes in. I believe he started at Bowling Green. I like this get a lot. Offensive tackle Spencer Lowell. He started multiple years at Arizona State. He transferred to Cal last year because of the Herm situation.
Yeah.
And then after this year, he goes to Leipold. So
boom,
bouncing all around. I think it's a good get to add some
multi-year
depth.
Power 5 starter. I'll take it.
Kicker Charlie Weinrich comes in from Nebraska. And then this running back here, we should be excited about him. Dylan McDuffie, Patty C. Dylan McDuffie.
Let me say this. A Nebraska kicker. I don't know how he did it, but
I'm
a lot of close losses.
I'm a bit scared. Dylan McDuffie, though, so he was at Georgia Tech last year, but he was a 1,000-yard running back for the Buffalo Bulls before that. So he's coming home. The cows have come home to roost, Petty C.
So they have.
Then we got cornerback Demarius McGee from LSU coming to Kansas.
DBU,
as some say. Defensive lineman Gage Keys from the Minnesota Golden Gophers comes into Kansas. Defensive end Austin Booker from the Minnesota Golden Gophers comes into Kansas. Kicker Seth Keller from Texas State comes into Kansas. Defensive end Devin Phillips from Colorado State comes into Kansas. And I think this is a big one. Former 5-star recruit Logan Brown, offensive tackle from Wisconsin, comes to the Kansas Jayhawks.
Yeah, anytime you're getting a Wisconsin offensive lineman to transfer in, and he had been had he gotten any play time? Do we know? He was a 5-star.
I know he's a 5-star. I don't know how many games he played. Check it out.
Yeah, let me dive into that.
Check it out.
Logan Thompson, was it?
It was Logan Brown.
Logan Brown.
Let's go. But either way, I would say they won the portal. They attacked the defensive line, getting big time, at least schools. I mean, some of those guys. I'm familiar with some of those guys. I'm not familiar with all of them, but I think they won the portal just by that.
Academic All Big Ten. He appeared in all 13 games in 2021 for Wisconsin.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Maybe last year got benched or something and just dipped out. I don't know.
Yeah.
But either way, Patty C, I think you have to. Would you say they won the portal?
Yeah, most certainly.
And remember, Jason Bean was going to transfer. Leipold talked to back. I would say you might have won the portal just by bringing him back.
Yeah.
Giving you that quarterback depth.
I agree. And even though, like you said, the wins didn't come, I think that was more because the schedule was really hard than anything it had to do with Bean. I mean, yes, Daniels was the better and is the better player, but the numbers, Daniels 66% completion percentage, Bean 64. Yards per attempt, Bean's actually higher. Daniels 18 touchdowns.
It's higher because they didn't run as much. I don't think.
Bean 14 touchdowns, 4 picks. So yeah, I mean,
dude,
and then
Daniels, call me crazy, and maybe I'm going to sound like a maniac. Like, I know he's at Kansas. He could be a Heisman candidate this year.
That's not crazy at all.
Yeah, like he was putting up I feel like every week was 300 yards. And 85 to 100 rushing.
Yeah, 425 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns in 9
games. In the bowl game, he
yeah.
wasn't even healthy all the way. He threw for over 500 yards against Arkansas.
Yeah, I mean, it ended on a high note. They have a great quarterback room, maybe the best quarterback room in the country, or top 10 quarterback room in the country, I would say. Well,
they do bring back the second most production out of 133 teams. Only Florida State brings back more.
And 90% of their production comes back on the offensive side of the ball, right?
Well, and when you factor in, I know Florida State's bringing back more this year, but Florida State's are upperclassmen.
Yeah.
Kobe Bryant, their star corner, was a freshman last year.
These guys are still young.
Daniels has got multiple years left. You know what I mean? They can really. I'm excited. I'm excited for the future.
He probably was you know what? I got a long leash here at Kansas. They have zero expectations. Let me do this the exact right way. And Perhaps. It's working out for him.
Perhaps, buddy. But let's talk about the good old offense here, because last season they were 20th in the nation in scoring offense. It was his first real year there when you consider how late he was hired.
Yeah, that 20th in the nation. I don't think Kansas fans
realize
could ever hope for that kind of offense there.
They were 38th in rush offense, 42nd in pass offense, 31st in total offense. And once again, that's with Game 6, their quarterback gets knocked out for a while, almost the whole season. And the offense still finished top 31. They probably would have beat TCU too had Daniels not gotten dinged up. I don't know. But
that offense is diverse because they kind of spread the ball around. No one in the top 20 nationally in any statistic on offense. But I think obviously the quarterback Daniels might have been, but except for the injury, but a receiver, they spread the ball. Now they do have a bell cow back.
Yeah, but they have a couple backs that I like. Remember, Devin Neal. So hold on. So Daniels and Bean are back at the quarterback spots. You got to love that.
Yeah.
If you watched Kansas early in the year last year, Daniel Hishaw was very good as well as Devin Neal. He got injured and out for the year. So they have Neal and Hishaw back. They also bring in McDuffie, who, he was only 1,000-yard running back at Buffalo.
Wow.
And then you also have
Neal went for almost 1,100 himself. So 2,000-yard backs in your backfield.
Savion Morrison back as well in that backfield too. You got to love, to me, the wide receiver position here. Luke Grimm is a guy who I thought was pretty solid last year. He's back. Once again, these guys are only juniors. They're going to be back next year, Patty C.
Yeah.
Crazy. Quentin Skinner is back at the wide receiver spot. He's also a junior. Lawrence Arnold back at the wide receiver spot. He's also a junior. So all your starters from a year ago. Your star tight end, Mason Fairchild, only a junior. He's back. Second team All Big 12. Jared Casey back as well. You guys might remember him.
All these guys got into the end zone too. These are touchdown makers we're talking about here.
And then you bring back 4 of 5 on the offensive line. And what's crazy, you're bringing back 4 of 5 from a year ago, Patty C. And then you add those 2 guys that aren't even, I mean, they could end up starting. But right now, Logan Brown and Lowell, they don't even have them penciled in as starters, even though they've started a lot of games before.
That's really crazy how, yeah, you're right. The offensive line is already stout. And to bring those 2 guys in is going to make them a formidable unit themselves. But you can't call them the weak point of the offense, but the fact that the skill positions are so absolutely loaded. I mean, Skinner, Grimm, Fairchild, and you said Casey?
Yeah.
And was
everybody.
Lawrence Arnold, is he coming back too?
He's a junior. Get this.
That's their top 5 pass catchers.
Patty C, get this.
And Devin Neal, their top 6 pass catchers.
They only have 2 seniors on offense this year.
Unbelievable.
And that is their center and left tackle. Everyone's going to be back next year, providing they don't hit the portal.
Yeah.
Really unbelievable.
We'll see
what's going on.
Magician he is, because I'm sure the money will be thrown at them, especially if they have a good year this year. Kansas donors, time to pony up. Basketball team, time to give some of that money.
Some of that Hunter Dickinson money. All right,
Yeah.
get on over. Whoa, what happened here? What happened? There we go. Let's jump on over to the defensive side of the ball where, this is where they need some help. 123rd scoring defense, 124th rush defense, 107th pass defense, charting at 126 overall. Patty C, the defense, I've heard him talk about this, the bend but don't break defense, and it was working early on with Jalon Daniels for sure.
Tell him the philosophy as Leipold described it.
Yeah, and I've seen him talk about this with Buffalo too. So basically, he knew his guys. He knew depth was a real problem on this Kansas team, just like it was when he first went to Buffalo. So he thought that, hey, if we just kind of make the offense beat us, like we're going to be kind of just don't give up the big play, but try to
keep everything in front of you. You're not going to stop them on first and second down.
And our defensive line's not that powerful.
You're going to get pushed around a little bit.
So
wait for
them to make a mistake.
Yeah, the field to get short, and just don't let them behind you until then, and then hold them to 3
and then right when we get the ball back, our offense will score really fast, and we'll put that same pressure back on them again.
It's weird that they were able to have the talent on offense, but not on defense. Maybe it's just the design of the offense that he knows will be able to slice up any defense. But I mean, because you really think maybe these guys aren't 5 stars.
These guys were there or transferred in or something, or they scouted. Like Jalon Daniels was there.
Yeah,
I remember when he first came in, he goes, "I think I got something on this quarterback." After the first couple games of the first year.
Yeah, well, that's just learning how to work with the talent you have. Matter of fact, I'm looking at it now. As of 2022, the most recent 24/7 talent composites, 71st nationally and dead last 10th in the Big 12. But
what are they currently? They're like top 25, right? Or top
well,
30?
Their recruiting class right now is sitting at 38 for the 2024 cycle. So that's
what I'm talking about.
Getting the talent in, and I don't think the 2023 talent composite, since it hasn't been put out yet, I'm sure it'll be a lot higher than that.
And I know they're going to be expanding the stadium, so money's coming in, buddy.
Yeah, buddy.
On the defensive side of the ball, now this is what part of it is. I think they sent some of those guys packing. Some of the guys. So they have 7 starters back.
Let me put that national talent composite in perspective real quick. They're 71. Kansas State is 70. Kansas State's
winning Big 12 championship.
Big 12 championship. Yeah. They're clearly not that far away from it.
Anyway. So there is that right there. Look, the defensive side of the ball. Obviously they were not very good last season, but they're breaking in a brand new defensive line. This is what I mean is they went out and just loaded up on guys to say, hey, let's try something different here. Devin Phillips is in from Colorado State. He's penciled in to be a starter. I know Gage Keys could be a starter. Tommy Dunn, though, is back. but it's a brand new defensive line. So all these guys that they went out and got, I mean, Jerome Robinson's a junior. He's played some. They're counting on him to step up. So that is going to be the biggest question mark yet again. But to me, the fact they addressed it with so many guys in the portal, like they brought in a shit ton of guys in the portal.
Well,
so.
especially if, what was their rushing defense? 123, 124?
Was 124. Yeah.
124. I mean, it sounds like maybe it's not the end of the world to bring in some new talent and try and bolster the defensive front.
Now, the entire linebacking core is back. If you consider, I know they lost Gilliard to UConn, but he was benched the second half of the season.
Yeah.
So they're bringing back the entire linebacking core and adding some depth to it in the portal as well, getting JB Brown from Bowling Green, who's got some starts there. All first team Big 12 corner Kobe Bryant was only a freshman last year, Patty C. He's back.
Kobe Bryant for Cincinnati, another Big 12 school now,
Yeah.
Was the Thorpe Award winner 2 years ago. So maybe another Kobe Bryant's going to be part of that conversation this year.
There we go. And then they got so their entire secondary is back. Their entire secondary.
If there is ever an indicator of how this defense operated last year, it's this stat. The only person in the top 20 in any statistical category on the whole team is safety Kenny Logan in solo tackles, was tied for 6th in the nation with 72. I mean, if that guy's making all your tackles, that tells you that they're getting into the secondary quite a bit.
And he's back.
Yeah,
he's back. This is another thing that stands out to me, Patty C. When I look at this defense, I am counting 3 seniors, projected starters. So this whole team still young. 5 seniors on this whole project. This is projections. Obviously, shit can change in August.
Yeah.
But, man.
The future is bright.
Very, very bright in Lawrence. Kicker, Seth Keller, as we alluded to, comes in from Texas State. They also have the kid from Nebraska coming in, but it seems like Keller's got the gig. They're going with the freshman punter that I believe they brought him in from Australia. And, or they brought him in from somewhere. I think it was either that or open tryouts. But, Patty C., the punter was terrible last year. So getting a better punter was a big thing for them. So they did also, and they hired Sean Snyder, special teams coach.
Okay.
Do you know who Sean Snyder is?
I'm not familiar with Sean Snyder.
He's the son of Bill Snyder.
Oh, okay. There you go.
How's that for the Sunflower Showdown? All right.
I love it.
You can walk into my dad's stadium, not a problem. You guys want a Coke? Can I get you? You guys want some ice?
This stadium is my stadium.
Yeah.
My family stadium.
So Patty C, what do you make of this whole roster?
I
think the defense will be better this year. And I don't even think it needs to be it doesn't have to be a top 40 defense. I think this is going to be a defense that continues to step in the right direction.
Somehow it seems like the offense may be poised for an even better year statistically
and just the health of Daniels.
Yeah. And you're right. If the defense can marginally improve, let alone take a pretty decent step forward, which seems very possible, then this team, instead of being 6 and 7 fringe bowl, becomes a contender, right?
Yeah, I think they are.
At least in the Big 12.
I think they're a contender. We're going to get to it. Folks, look, we're going to go game by game on the schedule, but before we do that, I want to tell you that the College Football Experience Kansas Jayhawks 2023 season preview episodes brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Yes, Underdog Fantasy. Their Best Ball Mania is here, and Underdog's giving away $15 million in prizes. Wow. Underdog Pick'em is also a great way to get down on your favorite MLB and NFL season player props. There's so many ways to win over at Underdog. And Underdog's available in so many different states. Head on over to UnderdogFantasy.com. Use that promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. Once again, that's UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code SGPN. And folks, when college football season comes around, past couple of years we've been with Underdog. They're a great company. They got great college football player props that I'll be mentioning. And really, I think if you like that, you can find a lot of value in that. Folks, check it out. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN. All right, we are back on the College Football Experience, Kansas Jayhawks style. And remember, folks, hopefully you're watching on YouTube, youtube.com/thecollegeexperience. But we also host the college basketball experience, where we talk college basketball year round. But when the basketball season tips, I am here every single night of the basketball season, talking about the best games, the best matchups, what you should be betting on, and we love the gambling aspect, but we also just truly love college hoops. So we've been doing this shit for years. Check it out. We also host the FCS college football experience, the college baseball experience. We come together as one on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience. Subscribe. But yeah, all those separate podcasts are out there.
What do you think about Kansas's college basketball prospects for the coming season?
I think they're national championship contenders, and that's why you should check out the college basketball
Tune in.
experience.
We're going to be talking about them every night of the week.
Oh yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Patty C, though, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're out there, you see this picture of Jason Bean. I know it's very bright. I wonder how well they see it, but
that's how bright Kansas's future is.
That is very true. That's why I'm wearing the glasses. And look, that win total is at 6. Get the fuck out of here. And my first reaction is, have they learned anything, Patty C?
It's true.
Have they learned anything? I know it's gone up, but they keep. He did 6 last year with maybe one of the where would you put Jalon Daniels as far as best quarterbacks in America?
Off the top of my head,
he's definitely top 20, right?
He's behind Caleb Williams.
Yes.
Aside from that, is there? I mean, I'd have to look.
I mean, you got Michael Penix, but
I think they're comparable.
Daniels kind of puts more fear into the defense with the way he can run the ball.
Let me rattle off some quarterbacks that were among the leaders last year, and you tell me who you think.
Well, and I'm not talking about pro prospect. I'm talking about to stop
overall.
To stop him, yeah.
Michael Penix.
I think you can make the case, but I the dual threat capability of Daniels is
puts him in the same
Penix does not run very much. Yeah.
Caleb Williams.
No.
Williams better.
Yeah.
Drake May.
I actually think they're similar. I think Drake May's he has yet to show he has great highlights, but to me the team I want to see him put the team on his back more.
Yeah.
Whereas Jalon Daniels, I've seen him put the team on his back.
Yeah, he is the heart and soul. He's the straw that stirs the drink, if you will.
Stir that fucking drink, buddy.
How about this one? Frank Harris, UTSA.
That's a good one because I do believe if he was to leave, that'd be like a 6-6 team.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. They're probably going to win 10, 11 games.
Sam Hartman.
See, I think Hartman might regress. It's a story that especially knowing Tommy Reese is gone, who he originally signed on to Notre Dame with, but he got a bag of cash. Yeah. So, he doesn't have the slow mesh. And it's funny hearing Hartman and I'm not Hartman. I mean, Clausen. They love Sam Hartman, by the way. So he seems like a great teammate and everything. Yeah. But they're not worried at all.
Oh yeah.
They're not worried at all about the loss of him because I feel like this thing is a machine. Yeah. So,
all right. So I feel like that's the company he's keeping. Bo Nix.
He put up great numbers. Bo Nix did last year, but I would say Daniels probably puts more fear in the defense. For game planning, I think Jalon Daniels
had a hell of a year last year.
He did, but he still doesn't run like Daniels. Daniels
I don't know. I saw some runs by Bo Nix, but Daniels is far more elusive. I don't know. Bo Nix, though, did you remember that play at Auburn when he's running around for 30 minutes in the backfield?
That is true. He ends up throwing that crazy pass. I do remember that. Yeah. No, I mean, I think he's right there, though.
Yeah, he's in the same conversation with all those dudes, I would say, except Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is the only one who's definitely better.
So let's go through this. Then.
Yeah.
So, but my point is, over 6 wins, considering that you didn't have your best player for what? It was the 6th game when that injury happened.
We touch on what happened last year enough?
Yeah, well, let's dive into it. Last year, they obviously opened up the season and opened up the season quite well by beating the hell out of an FCS.
Tennessee Tech.
Yeah. Then the very next week, they did take down.
Travel to Morgantown.
This game was wild. This game was a wild fucking game, man.
Yeah.
And they took down West Virginia.
How do you win by 13 in overtime?
Kobe Bryant pick 6.
Pick 6.
Yeah.
There you go.
Then they beat the hell out of Houston on the road. And then they took down the Duke Blue Devils, who was
a damn good season.
It was 16 points away from being undefeated. Then they squeaked by Iowa State. I thought Matt Campbell and that defense actually did a great job on Daniels. That was the game he struggled most.
Yeah.
And then I honestly thought they would have beat TCU. This is the game he gets injured.
Okay.
and Jason Bean comes in. And I want to say when he got injured, it was the second quarter.
Yeah.
So
Bean still performed admirably.
Bean's a good quarterback. Like
Yeah.
Bean could start at how many schools you think?
Probably a lot. But I'll say this. Lance Leipold game planning certainly helps him be able to step in and basically take over seamlessly. Obviously not quite the same upside, but not that far away.
Yeah. So then, so basically 5-1 with Daniels starting, but 5-0 when he finished the game. 5-0, and then the rest of they lose the next game to Oklahoma by 10, the next game at Baylor by 12, and then they come out of the bye. They do beat Oklahoma State by 21. Then after that, they lose in Lubbock by 15. They get destroyed against Texas. And they
get slapped around a little bit by K-State.
Yeah, and I know Daniels came back and I think played a little bit in that K-State game. And then he started the bowl game where they lost in triple overtime to Arkansas. So, but I still say Daniels was not, like when you saw him in that K-State game, it still wasn't Daniels. You're like, this is a guy that's.
Yeah, it was a month later that they played Arkansas, and obviously you can see the difference.
Even in the Arkansas game, man, like even though I know he got hot in the second half, first half, he looked like a guy that hadn't played a lot of football. Yeah. He was missing throws that he was making, and because it was a shoulder injury.
Yeah.
So
full off season will be massive. You know, he's got to stay away from contact. He's not the biggest guy in the world.
Yeah, but he's a stud.
Yeah.
And week 1, Patty C, Friday, September 1st, you better believe God's Eye will be rocking here in the studio at SGPN. The Missouri State Bears. And Missouri State, unfortunately, no longer has Road Rash Face, a.k.a. Bobby Petrino. He's gone. He went to Vegas for a couple weeks to be UNLV's OC.
That is a good
then
thing
left
for
Texas A&M. Yeah.
Yeah. Stop for a literal cup of coffee. He may have never even shown up in Las Vegas.
I'm sure he did. I know Petrino. He's like, wait,
yeah.
I can get some scattered ass and check out the facilities.
Yeah.
And then I'm out of there.
They just offered him while he was just in town. He's like, sure. You know what? Never mind.
I got him 1-0. Patty, see you?
1-0.
Week 2, Friday. Another 2 Friday games start the season. David Booth, Kansas Memorial Stadium. The Fighting Illini, and Brett Bielema come to town.
This was the last podcast that you'll have listened to.
Yeah, we just did the Illinois preview, and we had Kansas winning this.
That's
so
right.
2-0, and then they hit the road. Strange road game up there to Reno. But Nevada, I think, is one of the worst teams in the nation, and I expect Kansas to fuck them up. I got them 3-0, and then BYU playing their first ever Big 12 game, but it's not their first ever home game. They're on the road.
It was a tough game. BYU travels. You know, they're not afraid of the road.
True, but I think Kansas is a better team right now.
I do too.
I think Kansas is going to beat them.
But it's going to be a close game.
If this was at BYU, I'd probably take BYU.
Right.
But I got Kansas 4-0. Patty.
I lean in with you. And for those of you that are freaking out saying, yeah, right, Kansas 4-0, what did we just say? They started 5-0 last year. So,
well, and
hold on to your hats.
And I wouldn't doubt me at knowing this fucking team. All right. I've been right two years in a row. Let's go. Patty C, and then I love this spot.
I don't.
Do you know why I love this spot?
Huh?
Because the Red River Shootout's the very next week. It is a great sandwich spot. Go look at Texas's schedule. This is between the game at Baylor, and so it's just a perfect spot to catch Texas.
What did they do to Texas 2 years ago?
They won at Texas.
They won at Texas.
Yes.
So I don't know what happened last year to make it 55-14 in Lawrence, but going to, I mean, maybe Texas is asleep at the wheel in Austin.
You got to love the spot at least.
What did Texas get the week before?
At Baylor.
It's true.
So I'm saying Baylor's like one of the preseason favorites to be competing.
Baylor wants to beat them.
Yes.
And it's in Waco.
And then you got Red River Shootout on deck. It is a great spot to catch.
Yeah, it is. I'm still going Texas, but it's going to be probably a lot more competitive than last year. You going Jayhawks here?
Upset special. They did it. Leipold's 1-0 in Austin against Sarkeesian.
True.
Right, let's go.
True.
Patty C, then they host UCF, the Very Golden Knights.
Central Florida, the Very Golden Knights.
Yes, this game's going to be a little wild. This game's going to be a little wild.
Yeah.
You know who I think can be on Leipold's level at times?
Malzahn. Yeah.
I actually think that this game's like I'm a little scared about this one.
Well, they have different approaches. I mean, what is
Rice Plumlee?
Oh yeah, that's fun. You had mentioned, I'm forgetting. I don't want to put you on the spot here, but Leipold's offensive approach. I forgot.
He does a lot of triple. It's his version of triple option.
Yeah,
but it's option read stuff, but also they give the option to pass.
Yeah, RPOs.
So, yeah, like it is. They will do that nonstop.
Yeah.
I think I even saw something from one game a year ago. Who the fuck was it? Some defensive coordinator was talking about it after the game and says, Leipold only ran 7 plays all game. Right?
Yeah.
And it was the...
It's that Herman Boone
from, it was like whether Daniels gave it to Hishaw or Neal, or he kept it for himself, or they passed out of it to the tight ends or wideouts. But
that is such an effective and simple play. Just to like run the read option and draw up the linebackers and do a run pass option behind it.
Especially when you have all 3 options as really good players.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When you have Neal that can break
really
it to the house.
In every way. Yeah.
Patty C, call me crazy. I got this team starting 6-0.
5-1 for me.
Well, I do have them losing in Boone Pickens Stadium against the Mullet.
I agree.
On October 14th. So you have them 5-2. I got them 6-1.
So you already got them hitting.
At the number.
Yeah.
Right? Then they get a bye week, and then they host Oklahoma. And guess what, Kansas fans? I do have you beating Texas and Oklahoma in year 1, or in the final year, I should say, of them in the conference. Give me this all day. I don't think Oklahoma. I think this is a perfect matchup, really.
This is a nice spot to catch Oklahoma.
No, I think the matchup's perfect. The Texas game, okay, I'm maybe going out a little bit of a limb, but I just think Leipold is so much of a better coach than Sarkisian. But like Oklahoma pretty much does what Kansas wants to do. 2 years ago, they should have beat him in Lawrence. It's when Caleb Williams did the handoff.
Although
Remember
that game was like tied then. That was a
4th and 5 though.
Yeah, I mean Oklahoma was in hot water based on the expectations, but it was not like Kansas was in control of that game. They were just playing them way closer than anyone expected.
That was when they had 2 wins. Yeah. And my point is that had they gotten Caleb Williams
not done that when they went for it on, I think that was 4th down. Right?
No, it's 4th and 5. Yeah.
Then maybe Kansas has the ball,
and that was in midfield.
Yeah, midfield.
So a chance to win the game.
Yeah.
But and then last year I know Oklahoma beat them by 10, but to me they didn't have Daniels. If Daniels is playing this game, I think he puts more fear in the defense than Dylan Gabriel does against the Jayhawk defense.
I'm inclined to agree with you. We'll see. I mean, I expect a huge improvement from Oklahoma this year. This is not a team that wins 6 games in a year very often. You know, that is a very special set of circumstances with 2 Heisman level quarterbacks transferring out and a new coach coming in and them not knowing what they're going to do offensively. You know, granted, the defense wasn't great last year for them either, but Oklahoma has the type of talent that
it's in Lawrence, buddy.
With a year to, you know, get everything put together, they're going to be good again.
7-1. I'm on the over.
There you go. 6-2. I'm pushing as we speak with 4 games left.
Now I got them losing on Saturday, November 4th at Iowa State. Iowa State did a great job bottling up Daniels a year ago. Another thing is Iowa State probably would have won in Lawrence if they had a kicker that can make a field goal. He missed like 10 field goals, I feel like. I'm being sarcastic, but yes, he was terrible. I think Matt Campbell gets revenge in the cornfields there.
I agree.
All right, so I got them now at 2 losses. Now they have a home game against Texas Tech. This is a brutal part of the schedule.
Yeah,
this is a brutal part of the schedule. Home game against Texas Tech. Home game against K-State. I'm going to say they go 1-1 there.
They lost by 15 to Texas Tech, but was Daniels obviously still out there.
Yeah,
that's the type of game that it makes a difference in Kansas. I'm going Jayhawks here.
I will too, but I think the next game, the Sunflower Showdown.
Yeah. They
could win this though, man.
What
was the score last year? Did they get their ass beat by
47-27. Now let me make the Kansas fans, you know, have a moment to gloat about here. They still have the all-time lead in this series, 65-50. So Kansas State's still little brother in this series.
Make it 65-51 though.
Yeah.
I'm taking K-State. The final game of the season, they head into Nippert. Patty C, you calling for an upset?
What would that be? Cincinnati winning or Kansas winning?
It would be Cincinnati winning.
It is not an upset.
From a win total perspective.
No, Cincinnati's going to beat Kansas. Welcome to the Big 12. And yeah,
Jalon Daniels runs wild.
sorry, buddy. We're gonna
9-3.
agree to disagree on this one.
And I actually think
I got them 7-5.
I actually think they could play for the Big 12 championship. What if we had a Sunflower Showdown Big 12 championship?
Be fucking awesome. Be fucking awesome. Now I'm about to get canceled by the Kansas fans because apparently, cursing will get you fired, right? In
Mark
Lawrence,
Mangino. Watch out.
Yeah. Thank God Lance Leipold doesn't seem to be a cursing man.
Look, I know they're not going to go undefeated, Patty C, but is there one that they're just is there one that's 100% a loss on the schedule? I don't think there is.
No, not at all. I mean,
that's why this year
at
could
Kansas
be
seems to be, at Texas rather, based on last year's results, seems to be the toughest out. But if they're vastly improved from a talent perspective, they're not just getting
and they
pushed.
didn't have Jalon Daniels in that game.
Yeah. Was it wait, the Texas game?
Yeah.
Was that the first game he was? Oh no. That was
mid-season.
late in the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That is a difference maker. I'm looking at this year's schedule.
I think they have a decent shot. I love the over on 6 wins, and I would not be looking at a future for them to win the Big 12 championship, because if they get in the game, especially with now them having 14 teams for this 1 year, it makes it so interesting because not everybody plays everybody. So these tiebreakers could get wacky. You could end up having like Texas Tech playing Kansas in the Big 12 championship. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like before when you had that round robin.
Yeah.
So now it could be very interesting. So it's worth a shot on a future, I think.
No, this is an absolutely great play. This is the first year that I'm finally agreeing with you that this team looks like an absolute contender.
Yeah. No, I think that's what makes the Big 14, the Big 12 so interesting this year. How many contenders, honestly, could you see playing in the Big 12 championship? Not winning, playing.
Almost the entire conference.
I agree.
Yeah.
It's very hard to decipher and say, well, even Cincinnati, who I was sitting there, I'm on the under on our Cincinnati episode, but
their schedule's not.
I'm sitting there like, man, there's a lot of 50-50 games.
Yeah.
I don't know,
yeah.
5 and 7 to 9.
If they catch fire, if they're way better than everyone thinks, then yeah, they're very much as good as any team in there.
Yeah. So folks, I think you hammered the over, and I'm super excited to watch the Big 12/Big 14 this year. And Patty C, let's go. Look, before he's
between
on the over.
Last year they were Big 10. Between this year they're Big 14. You average
Next
it
year
out.
Be Big 12
they're
again.
the Big 12. Right.
We think it'll be Big 12 again. I know there's talk that UConn, San Diego State,
they got like 15 teams.
Yeah, Big 12's thinking about adding the whole fucking country. All right, the whole ACC is coming to the Big 12. It's gonna be the Big 500. Let's go. Patty C, before we get out of here, I had a chance to sit down with College Football Campus Tour, a.k.a. Michael Barker, who, if you don't know, you need to know because he's fantastic. Goes to like every single college football game ever. 6-7 games a week. But I had a chance to sit down with him to talk about his experiences to Lawrence, to check out the Jayhawks and everything. So with no further ado, here is that interview. Joining us on the College Football Experience, Kansas Jayhawks 2023 season preview episode is none other than College Football Campus Tour. Wait. What's that? Who's that, Colby? Yes, College Football Campus Tour on Twitter at CFB Campus Tour. This is the best follow you can do, guys. If you love college football, if you're a Kansas Jayhawk football fan, give him a follow because he does like 6-7 games a week. When I say he does, he goes to 6-7 games a week. And he documents it all on his page. And he's been to every single school in the FBS. He's been to most of the FCS. It's literally amazing. And the Twitter page is fantastic because not only does he show you the games he's at, but he does the photo of the game. He breaks down the history. It is a must follow, folks. So I'm honored to welcome on Michael Barker, a.k.a. CFB Campus Tour. How you doing, Michael?
I'm doing great. Thank you for the introduction. And, we're both fellow stadium heads. So anytime we get to talk about classic stadiums, old stadiums like Memorial or Kansas Memorial Stadium, it's a good time here.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously Kansas had such a dark period of football, but they've come through And there's optimism all around the program, and I've been here for it all with my prediction. If you've been listening over the past 2 years, I am going to tout, guys, because I was all over this. I love the Lance Leipold hire. Everyone thought the Les Miles hire was going to be the one to get him to the promised land. When no, it was a little unknown coach from Wisconsin. Wisconsin Whitewater, I think it was, and then Buffalo, and now he comes in and he takes him to a bowl game in just a second year. It's exciting times in Lawrence. Tell me about the history of old, David Booth, Kansas Memorial Stadium.
So built in 1921, so 102-year-old stadium. David Booth actually donated $50 million towards stadium renovation. So 50 mil will get your name on the marquee, as they say. It has 47,000 capacity. There is talk of renovations next year to do some improvements and actually reduce it to 40,000. But it's changed a lot. It used to have a track. They got rid of that. They have a real nice scoreboard over there. And there's still the history. And they got names all over the stadium of famous alumni, most notably Gale Sayers. And, you talk about the optimism with Lance Leipold. Not too long ago in the 2000s, there was Mark Mangino there. And they had 2 seasons in 2005 and 2007 where they went undefeated at home for an entire season. So the blueprint is there, not in 1948, in the 2000s. So there's hope, like you said, for optimism. And Lance Leipold did some good things at Buffalo, and it will be interesting to watch if that translates to the Big 12.
Oh, I think it will, man. I need to go check out a Kansas game. Now, let me ask you this. What era did you go in, and what games did you check out or game?
I've been to one game. It was a COVID game. I always have to put an asterisk next to it, not because it doesn't count, but it was because reduced capacity. But as a football fan, you're just grateful to be able to go to any game. So it was an interesting trip because I went to a Friday night game in Laramie in Wyoming, and it was a night game. And Kansas, it was an 11 o'clock a.m. game. And you're not going to get any flights from Laramie to Lawrence. You'd have to drive down to Denver, and you still can't get to Lawrence if you fly into Kansas City. So I had a 12-hour window to do a 10-hour drive in a 12-hour window. I made it there about 10:30, and I was exhausted, but we got in there. There was a great atmosphere, even with the COVID crowd. But Iowa State was really powerful. That was Breece Hall team. He went for 185 yards and 2 touchdowns. They ended up beating Kansas 52-22 that day. So I've been back on campus a couple times since then. I would love the opportunity to go. I know they're playing a Friday night game, week 2 against Illinois. Love all these P5 games getting moved to weekdays. That's a possibility. And, from a stadium traveler perspective, I'm hunting for Kansas State day game, Kansas night game, or vice versa. So that's what I'm looking at here in the future. But I would love to get back to Kansas as soon as possible.
Folks, did you just hear what Michael just said? All right. I don't even need to advertise it anymore, push it anymore. The guy was in Laramie at War Memorial, checking out a Wyoming game. And then he drove 10 hours to catch a Kansas game. And that was just 2020. That was in the Les Miles era. So that was still in the dark days. That is why you need to follow him on Twitter, because not only will he have great stories like that, he documents it all, folks. So hop on over there at CFB Campus Tour. Michael, I appreciate you coming on to talk Kansas Jayhawk football and David Booth, Kansas Memorial Stadium, and I look forward to maybe one day I'll be catching a game with you there at Memorial Stadium, man.
Absolutely, Colby. I look forward to it, and thank you as always for having me.
There we go, Michael Parker. I need to get over there to Lawrence, Patty C. I need to go over to Lawrence because I'm curious. How's it going to look, Patty C, when the Jayhawks are playing in the Big 12 championship?
Unfamiliar territory for most Jayhawk fans.
How would you feel about that? No, they were there. I was Todd Riesling.
Riesling?
Drink a Riesling.
I think, that's true. But that has been a while. What, 2007, right?
Yeah.
So
they beat your Hokies in the Orange Bowl.
That was a depressing game. Great season for Kansas. So, look, we know that program can go there, and maybe Leipold is just the guy to do it.
Let's go, folks. I am buying in. All
College
right?
football playoff invitation.
Dude, the Big the Big 14, whatever. Every week's going to be fucking amazing to watch. Subscribe to the College Football Experience because guess what? Not only do we host the College Football Experience all year long and the College Basketball Experience, but we also have a brand new feed out there called the Big 12 College Experience. Check that out. Ryan McIntyre, a.k.a. Moneyline Mac, will be talking Big 12 football, basketball, and baseball year-round. So check that out with him and his co-host there, Rush Bishop and company. So check that out. And, subscribe there. We are on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. Give us a follow, Jayhawk fans. Rock Chalk. Let's go.
Come on.
And, I'm super excited. I can't wait for the fucking season. This is like my must-watch team every week. We have a Kansas TV here in the studio. Let's go. Folks, give Patty C a follow on Twitter at PattyC831. I'm on Twitter at TheColbyD. Remember, subscribe on YouTube, youtube.com/The College Experience. And, check out the Sports Gambling Podcast. Just dropped an interview with Joe Theismann and Carson Steele, starting running back for the UCLA Bruins. I know we have other guests coming on in the coming weeks. If you get the app, you'll get access to all of that. Our picks,
we need to get
content.
Rigo on here.
I know. I tried. I reached out a couple times. Thought I was going to be able to get
all you Kansas fans out there, tell Rigo to come on the College
John
Experience.
Riggins needs to come on the show. We want Rigo. Folks, they're like, who? No, I'm joking. They know who he is.
They know.
Folks, also, come talk whatever sport, but Kansas football and Kansas basketball, yeah, we go pretty heavy on it in the Discord. SportsGamblingPodcast.com/Discord. You will enjoy it. Folks, this is the College Football Experience. Kansas Jayhawks style. We're both on the over. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here. Let's go.